Hello YouTubers, welcome to vlog number 121. Got my smoothie, frozen fruit, protein powder, yogurt, milk. It hasn't changed in a while. I think I might have to change it once I run out of frozen fruit and get different frozen fruit. Maybe add something a bit different, because I had a pineapple smoothie last week that was quite a big change. It was quite delicious. But today is a bit of a different day. As you can see, I'm in the house. It is very sunny outside. It is not the morning just now. Well, it still is, but it's not early morning. Hercules Reguliosus has his presentation for his degree, master's, PhD, something. Good luck to Vass on that. Hopefully it went well. But that means that we aren't training in the morning. We're training in the afternoon. So we get a lovely long lie. I slept for about 48 hours, so that's absolutely fantastic. Mary went out in the single this morning. How was it?
Fantastic. Very windy. Okay.
Wonderful. Very windy. In fact, there's a tailwind down the course, so wind against stream. So that's always fun. So we've got, today will be a session on the water and weights by the looks of things. So I'm going to drink this smoothie and package up the tank tops, or finish packing up the tank tops, send them away, and hopefully you can all get them soon, depending on how fast the postage is to your area. Alright, let's get to the next part of the day. Okay, and my sister was very kind to be able to help package, or essentially just package, the tank tops. Here they are. Oh yeah. Now to seal them up, thanks Mary.
No problem.
Now to seal them up and get them to the post office. Let's go! And it is an absolutely gorgeous day outside. Looking really forward to getting on the water. So I've got lunch. Got to get these packages out to you guys. Got them all sealed up, ready to go. Got to go to the post office now, drop them off, get them sorted, then to the club. Alright, let's get going. And we've made it to the post office. Got to post these. Wish me luck. Yes! Posted all the packages. Now it's time to get to the club and get some food and get some training. Ah!
And we've made it to the club. The weather's looking great. A little bit windy, but that's okay. Cameron's doing a session on the water.
Hopefully we don't get blown off the course.
And it's a session on the bike for me. See you when we get in.
Instead of going out in the water, I've decided to have some food. Fraser, what are you having?
Oh, this is naughty. Stop it. Sticky Tommy pudding is delicious.
Absolutely fantastic. Because remember, food is fuel. Jack? Anything to say to your mum? Alright, we're going to eat this and then we're going to get on the water for some pieces. Let's get to it. Okay, and we are in Erg Thoughts with Cam Buchan, just me today. What we're talking to, as we see a bit strange Jacob position there and gold flying out of the boathouse, we're going to discuss, as you can see from the title, a bit of prep for racing time. So I talked about how to prep, how to warm up and whatnot for a sort of 2K or an erg piece. And so let's go to just talk a little bit about how to prepare yourself for a water piece. And there obviously are similarities, because on a 2K on erg you're trying to like really go for it, and you're obviously trying to do the same on the water. But it is slightly different, and you really have to, it's more of a sort of focus on getting the crew together, and I've kind of touched on sort of things about crew bonding and whatnot before. And if, especially, well, we'll just assume we were in a crew boat like I am just now, and that makes a big difference to training and whatnot, crew bonding, as well as just being ready for the boat itself, depending on if it's a pair, 4, 8, quad, double, wherever you're in. Well, like I said, we'll assume it's a crew boat. So, as we get paddling off here in fours, preparing yourself to race is really all about sort of mentally prepping, especially when you're in a boat. I think there's more of a mental element to it than on the rowing machine itself, and I think that's because, well, for me it's just a little bit different type of pressure. It's more like, instead of just being like, okay, on the erg I'm this fit, I've seen these numbers, I can do this, and it's pretty solid like that. But when you go on the water, there are so many different variables that you may be that strong on the erg, and like the saying goes, ergs don't float. So you may hop in the erg with, say you have an erg average of 550 or so in an 8, but that doesn't automatically mean it is going to be a fast boat. So you have to prep for lots of different things outside of your control in an 8 or a 4 anyway, or in a crew boat in general. And that's what really the race prep comes down to, is sort of becoming one, or making sure you're as close as possible to your teammates as possible before racing. And so that can be lots of different types of crew bonding, but just essentially just spending time together, getting to know your crewmates. Because I've said before, when you're in the pain cave, you want to know that your crewmates are there to back you up, and they're going to back you up. There's no question about it. So that's a huge part, and everyone kind of has their own ideas how to do that. So I'm going to talk about more of the sort of fitness kind of side of things, or like the warm-up kind of side of things. So what I like to do, for me in particular, is make sure I'm very sort of sweaty and ready to go before a race. So depending on the type of boat, that means it could mean doing some prep on the rowing machine or the bike before I actually get in the water. So I'm sweating pretty hard, or I'm sweating anyway before I get on the water, and then we do the sort of the water warm-up. Some guys feel that the warm-up on the boat is enough, but for me, not quite. So you may have to adjust that for your personal sort of want, or personal needs. Some people are able to warm up pretty quickly, and I've just discovered over doing many different races that I need to sort of fire the engines, get the engines going quite a bit before the race itself, so you can avoid that feeling of sort of, not panic, but sometimes you do a piece, say it's like a 4x500, or like a workout with many pieces. You do the first piece and your lungs are screaming, and then you do the second piece and it's not as bad. That's usually, or at least that's a sign to me that I've not quite warmed up. My body wasn't quite ready for that first piece, but it's very ready for the second piece. It's nice and warm, kind of thing. It's prepared physiologically for that piece, and that's a big part of prepping for racing, sort of the day of, and warm-up wise, or sort of the day, the morning, or the whatnot. At university, we never used to do pre-paddles, and at Leander, we tend to do pre-paddles, and that seems to be not just Leander Club, but a lot of sort of the British way of doing things, especially on the team as well. We do pre-paddles, and I kind of, when I came over from the States to Leander, I never really liked doing them. But you do what's best for the team, and let's go sort of back a bit in time, say the weeks running up to it, or the week running up to a race. It can all sort of depend on your personal preferences. Some people like to do like a hard week of training, or previous week of training hard, and then taper off. And obviously this all depends on the type of race you're wanting, and type, like if you're trying to train through that race or not. But say you're trying to peak for the regatta, you can talk about this forever, how to peak for a performance, but usually you have a lighter sort of period of training running up to the race, and that could be anything from the day before to the week before to 2 weeks before, and it all kind of depends on your base fitness of the crew itself. And obviously I'm not recommending doing anything in particular, but you have to adjust it based on what you are able to do. So you don't want to take 2 weeks taper when that means that your fitness is going to drop significantly. But say you've ended up doing like a 3-month training block that's written you off, you might need like a week of really solid taper and then a week of sort of easing into it. So it can all depend on sort of your specific crew's fitness, your fitness in general, and how you race. But sometimes when you're coming up to a race, you kind of do a little bit of taper, and that could be, instead of doing the day before or a few days before, instead of doing 3 sessions, you do 2 sessions. Or if you're doing 5 sessions a day, 5 shorter ones, then you do 3 sessions. Or if you're doing 1 session a day, you might take that 1 longer session and cut it in half, or a third, or a 3/5, or whatever it is, depending on your training. that's really how racing prep is pretty simple, because usually it's less about yourself and it's less about you're usually getting told what to do. So the program's there. It's like, this is how we're doing it. This is how we're going to do some bursts here. We're going to do some starts here. We're going to do these pieces, those pieces. But when you're doing sort of a test on erg, it's a bit less like that and a bit more sort of, what do I need to prep myself for the erg? Because erg is very individual indeed, and then when it comes to crew boats, obviously less individual. But hopefully that helps a little bit, and just shared my experience there as we're prepping for the first race for me for this season at Marlow this weekend. And as you saw as well, a little bit of an issue with the camera. The rigger mount decided to not cooperate, unfortunately, and snapped. So that'll be that, and we'll have to get another one of those. But I'll see you after I finish this workout. And we've made it back into the crew room after the camera fell off the boat. Sad times. But luckily it was tied to the boat, so it didn't actually disappear. Now it's food time, because remember, food is fuel. And we have put the boat on the trailer to go to Dorney Lake tomorrow or tonight for Marlow Regatta at the weekend. So that's exciting, rowing in the 8th event at Marlow Regatta as Leander B, so that will be very exciting. Looking forward to that. Leftovers, some rice and beef for food, and then I'm going to go get some more and do some squats as well. Squats. And then Morgan has some pudding for breakfast. Isn't that right, Morgan?
Some yam.
Some yam pudding. Delicious. So we're going to go do some weights and then see what we're up to for the rest of the day. Alright, and we've made it into the gym. Going to do a little bit of weights, some squats and a reduced program, just to sort of keep the legs going throughout the process. But don't want to make myself too tired for racing at the weekend. Always a fine line you have to run. So let's get to it.
I've been like that since I was a kid. I've always put my feet wherever I want to. Before I saw who I could be, kept thinking, where did I go wrong? Then realizing where I do come from. What's in how real love should feel, knowing that it's not just you, it's me. 'Cause I was made to be free. I am 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 made to be free.
And we are outside of the club after a lovely little bit of squatting and other lower body related exercises, just to sort of tone up and keep the gains train going, like I said. But that is it for the rest of the vlog for today. So tomorrow we're heading to Dorney Lake in preparation for Marlow Regatta, so stay tuned for tomorrow's vlog. I think I'm actually going to introduce the crew for the regatta in tomorrow's vlog, as well as sort of a regatta prep vlog type deal. And then Saturday is the regatta itself, and then we go to Henley Royal Regatta, so it's all just coming in really quick, exciting times. So remember, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that like button, and have a good one.